Hello. So I was checking my CGM report this morning, and turns out that I had one of my worst weeks and even months in a very long time. I'm talking years. So in the past week I had 66% timing range, and in the past month 79% timing range, which to me are really not good results, because my entire reason, for running, for doing the things that I do, to eating well, sharing the stuff on the channel and on my newsletter, is to really just keep improving, and I'm not improving. In fact, I'm going backwards. And so today I just wanted to walk you through what I'm thinking, and also what I'm going to do, the steps that I will take to get things back in order, because I have 2 more marathons this month and one 100-kilometer race. And so of course blood sugars need to be in order for these athletic feats to go as planned. But most importantly, I want to have this figured for the rest of my life, for my own health. With all this longevity thing going on now, my goal now is to be at least 100 years old and still healthy. So I'm just acknowledging that the way I've been doing things lately, I'm not going to reach 100 years old healthy. So today I'm going to talk you through the things I'm auditing in my life, the steps I'm taking, mistakes I've done, and so on. So let's see. So let's start with the mistakes. I would say that mistake number 1 for sure was not keeping a precise diary of my type 1 diabetes things. So my meals, logging carbs and macros, my carb to insulin ratios, the response of blood sugars, and so I was in fact kind of letting diabetes run in the background, but I was not really controlling it. I thought I had standardized meal, but in fact I didn't. And this brings me to mistake number 2, which is eating a lot more snacks. So basically not having my typical 3 meal per day, but rather going for 1 meal, maybe not even at the design time, and then a snack in between, and then voila, all of a sudden your doses are overlapping and all the rest. So I introduced blood sugar chaos, because the more you stack insulin and meals, the harder it gets to really understand what is causing what. And so this was my second mistake. Mistake number 4, I guess, or 5, I don't remember. And sorry if you're hearing the traffic, but it is what it is today. And you could argue this is the mistake that really is the origin of most of the others, is that my sleep routine went wacky a little bit, not as consistent. I used to be, 9:30, 5:30 naturally. Not that I was self-imposing anything, but now I'm going to bed at 8, 11, 10, no alarm clock anymore, and sleeping over. So even my breakfast time gets delayed, and then you get to, you know, think, okay, is this breakfast or lunch? Is this brunch? Should I eat one meal or 2 meals? It's just confusing, you know. And then of course, because sleep is irregular, that alone will screw you up big time in terms of insulin resistance and the ability of your insulin to work efficiently on the day. So I guess that's another big mistake. Should probably be the first one or the second one after the journaling, which is for us type 1 diabetics mandatory. Was for me for a very long time, but for some reason lately I forgot. And then I guess another mistake, which kind of made it possible for all the others to perpetuate, was not actually checking my reports. I used to have this habit of, at the end of every day, checking my Dexcom Clarity report for the day, looking for trends and things that didn't go as planned on that day, so I could, you know, fix them the day after. But in this period, I was like, you know, seeing the weekly report in my email, but then kind of being okay and not doing really anything about it. So I knew that the trend was not great, but I was just like shrugging my shoulders, and that was not wise, to say the least. I need to change here. So that's another big mistake. And now to the actual points to fix this. So let's finish this recovery run with some learnings. And for the lessons, we are in one of the most beautiful squares in Italy, and I would bet and argue in Europe, Piazza Unità d'Italia in Trieste. And yeah, so the first key lesson here is that, sweating, no matter how advanced you think you are or how much effort you are pouring into trying to improve your health, you really have to take active care for type 1 diabetes. You cannot delegate it in full to an app, to an algorithm, maybe that on the pump. You really have to be there and understand, because trends, blood sugars dynamics, insulin dynamics change on a daily basis, and you need to be there to analyze them, understand them, and act on them. That's key learning number one. Key learning number two is that you really need to keep that fucking journal, type 1 diabetes journal, single purpose journal, in your pocket every day. You know, keeping a note of your insulin dose, of the macros of the meal, your expected ratio, your actual ratio, you know, depending on how blood sugars responded. And then you know what you did in between. Did I sleep well? Did I drink enough? Did I do some cardio or some strength? You know, that is a must. Keep it, because you cannot improve what you're not tracking. And so the journal is going to be back in my rotation. I need to figure out a way that is, easy for me to maintain. So no sophisticated spreadsheets or a massive, thing that I need to maintain. Just something I can fit in my pocket. Even a napkin and a pen will do it. Lesson number 3 is about meals. So now I'm in a phase where I need to reset everything. Reset my ratios, understand my basal rate, my insulin and carbohydrates tolerance rate, how much I'm spiking for every gram of glucose that I eat, how much I drop for every kilometer of running or walking that I do. And in order to do this, I will need to conduct some experiments. And for an experiment to work, a scientific one, you need to do that in a protected environment, meaning that for a period I'm going to standardize all my meals, and eating them at the exact same time every day, so that the only thing that is changing is the insulin dose the lifestyle variables that are impacting my insulin dose. And by doing so, I should be able to draw clearer cause and effect relationship between what I'm eating and the dose and the impact of the insulin. So experimentation. I need to do experiments. Lesson number 3. Lesson number 4. I need to make it easy for myself to make changes. And so I guess that one thing that I will do is starting to really keep one sheet on my wall, and every evening I just write there, okay, one thing that didn't go to plan today, maybe a habit, maybe something that I should not have done but I did anyway, like a craving or things like that, and just seeing them in the morning and making it easier for me to remind that I need to act on these things. That's one, coupled with the evergreen James Clear advice to not miss twice, not make the same mistake twice. So that's a driving force for me now. And lesson number 5, don't compromise on sleep, because the quantity is okay. I get 7 to 8 hours every night, sometimes even more, but regularity is even more important, because I always slept around 8 hours, but I can see how the quality of my sleep and also of my energy throughout the day are being wrecked by the fact that I'm not consistent with my bedtime. So yeah, that is going to be a non-negotiable moving forward. Who knew? So that's it. The run is done, cooling down now, and yeah, I mean, I guess that the overarching theme is, keep an eye on your things, and when you notice that you've been off the track for a long time, for months in my case, don't despair, just focus on the next best action. And it's not easy, believe me. It would be super default for me to just say fuck, oh no, I was used to 90% time in range, for months on end, and now I'm 66, 78 last month. That's crazy. But you know, the best thing you can do is to just analyze, like auditing your life and saying, okay, this in a day, these are moments where I do things wrong. This cue in that particular moment of the day sets me up for a snack, a rage bolus, whatever. Identify those moments, analyze your blood sugars, and get back on track. I will be documenting my journey to getting back on track. And next weekend, 50K race, I'm going to document for y'all. See you.